So it is Monday, 27th of July 2026. And as usual, we start with the analysis of the dollar. As you can see, we're currently in a bull trend again, continuing that bull trend on the dollar with this moving average moving up. We can see that when the dollar broke the moving average there and broke here, that was when this upside started. At the moment, the upside is continuing and it's making kind of a sideways movement at the moment. Price and momentum stay aligned. And we have a resistance at 101.8 at the moment. Moving to the VIX. Sorry, the internet slightly slow, and there we have it now. Let me open it up a little bit here. And as you can see, it continues like last week. But if we do a bit of more detailed analysis, we can see it is moving closer to the moving average. So, but price still aligned with this downward movement. But we can see that on the momentum, there is some upside as here it flipped up and it's green here, and therefore the movement closer to. So there's some volatility getting coming into the market. And volatility means also a stronger move, usually on the SPY. Then we come to US 10-year yields, government bonds. And again, same as last week, that strong trend of government bonds is continuing upwards. Even though we can see the momentum has go down, even though it is still on the upside. And yeah, strongly on the upside. And again, here we can see actually that this upside movement started somewhere here. The stronger upside movement, it already also were implicated there. And there we have the new resistance level. Going to the SPY. Sorry for the slow internet access. There we have it now, and let's open it up a little bit better. Interesting enough, here on the SPY, similar trend, price, and momentum as last week. That it has fallen below the moving average. There is both the support here and resistance level there. And in terms of the momentum, as we can see, it is downwards, almost making a sort of a triangle here. So we might expect a breakout to one or other side. And as the volatility of the VIX move higher, we can expect that breakout to be quite significant. And we've added the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is exactly the same as last week. It has already fallen far lower than the SPY, below the moving average. The momentum downwards are far stronger, and we have this resistance level at the moment, and we have this support level. If this momentum continues downward, we might see quite a fall in the Nasdaq in this coming week. And then this one that we said usually act even before the SPY, we can see similar to the Nasdaq, there is this downward momentum, and if we look at where that level of the downward momentum was in the blue line, we can see that that we have a lower low. There's a low, but this low is lower than that, which shows there's an increase in the downward momentum. Brent crude, we have a bit of a different picture. The momentum is now also aligned with the bearish outlook. So we had this huge spike in the oil price, but now it's turning downwards. We will have to see if that downwards movement is going to continue in this coming week. Let's just check here. If we look at there, it is actually going below that level here. And on the price chart, it didn't fall below that. So that suggests to me that we can probably have more downside on the oil price in the near future for now. The dollar over the South African rand, we see that the bullish trend is continuing. However, we can see that the rand strengthened a little bit, and we will have to see if it's going to continue further upwards. We have the upper resistance there and the support here. Going to gold. Exactly continuing its bearish downtrend, and we have that support level here and a resistance there at the top. We can see that it is forming a bit of a base here, and however, if we look at the momentum, we can see that the momentum is still going downwards. Well, here you can see last week and this week is equal. So we will have to watch gold closely, whether it's going to continue this downtrend or whether it might form a base and move upwards. My guess is more that there's probably more downwards to come. We get to Bitcoin. Mixed picture on Bitcoin. There's a bearish trend, but the price is countering that trend while the momentum stays aligned. We can see that, sorry about that. We can see that Bitcoin is forming a base here on this support level 59930, and So we will have to see what is going to happen to Bitcoin. It will be bad news if it breaks through this support level significantly. If we quickly look at the momentum, we can see from this level the momentum did move upwards, but there is, in this week, it moved down, as that red part also suggests. So let's keep an eye on Bitcoin and see where it's going to go. We've also added Ethereum. Interesting for Ethereum, it has moved now totally bullish because of the fact that this moving average has turned to green. Similar to Bitcoin, it's got a support level and a resistance level, but it actually bounced from the support and now it's going upwards. This upward trend is continuing. What is worrying though is that this is outside of those two lines, and so we will have to look closely at Ethereum whether this bullish trend is going to hold. This brings us to our Satrix ETFs, and the first one is the World Satrix. Again, we have there a resistance and a support level. We can see here from our dashboard that there is a counter trend on the momentum, but we have seen that this counter trend happened many times. What we will have to watch closely here is that the blue line don't break below this level, because that will be bad news for the Satrix World ETF. Emerging markets. We say that it is continuing its counter trend to the bull trend that it is or was in. What is interesting here is that if we look at the momentum, let's just look closely. It seems like it actually fall lower in the momentum there, which is not such good news for the emerging markets. It's very close also to this support level at 8,503. And if it should break down this red line, that will spell trouble. On the weekly chart, remember, we are going to do still also the monthly chart, but that is only once a month. We come then to the S&P 500, still continuing its bullish trend. And we have there also a resistance and a support level. Momentum looks still good. There was a little bit of loss of momentum this week, as you can see here in that bar, that it traded up very high, but then almost closed at the same level as the open. We're still fairly clear of that level. So we can expect maybe the SPY to move in this same kind of sideways pattern for another week. The Nasdaq There's a counter trend on the NASDAQ, as we also saw in the other. But here on the Satrix as well, the picture is similar for the NASDAQ, falling quite strongly with strong downwards momentum. And then the Satrix 40, still continuing its bearish movement. You can see there is quite a strong support level. Unfortunately, it didn't put in support levels for us here, but just visually we can see that somewhere there, around about 101.50, there is support. So is it building a base, or is it going to break through that? There's no indication at this stage. If we look at the momentum, there's any strong upwards momentum. So we could still expect some more bearish movement. Satrix RAFI, basically the same picture. Also support level here. Okay, yeah, here it has got its own support level, 3287. If it keeps above that support level, we should be okay still. But momentum suggests still some downside. Dividend plus. Slight counter trend here in the momentum, but otherwise the picture very similar to the other two that we've just done. And there is a support level at 287, so it shouldn't break through that. So we must have a close look at what is happening to the dividend fund. Then the Satrix SA bond portfolio, continuing its bearish direction. Very strong support level here at 904 and 913. And there is resistance there at 1006. You can see that there is a sideward movement for quite a long time now. So we will have to look which side it's going to break out to. Slightly upwards momentum in terms of the blue line, but in terms of this indicator, red is still in vogue. We're almost done. And we're looking at global bonds now. We see that this week is similar to last week, with that counter trend to the bearish, or the counter price to the bearish trend, and also counter momentum. The fact that it broke upwards here is quite an indication that we might see a rise in global bonds on the weekly chart. Then this bonds is a inflation-linked bonds for Satrix, South African bonds. Same picture as last week. A counter trend on both the price and momentum, but it stays above this line, the blue line. So it might continue that upward trend. There is support here. This can also be a support level, 904. And then lastly, we get to properties. Properties has turned bullish because price and both the momentum has aligned with that bullish trend. There is kind of like a triangle forming at the moment. I can quickly highlight that for you if you want. Oops. Even starting from here. So we will have to watch which side is it going to break out. At the moment, our indicators suggest an upward breakout, but we will still have to watch it. Thank you. That's the end of our analysis for Monday, 27 July 2026. See you next time.